Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Thanks for joining us. Here are your top stories.
It was devastating for me, and I've always kind of looked up to her as a strong, feminine, historical figure.
We don't understand why, and we feel the sorrow of it, of folks that are victims involved in it, because they are our neighbors.
She keeps everyone safe to go to school. Thank you, Crossing Guard.
We begin tonight with the death of Queen Elizabeth II. As millions mourn Her Majesty's passing, the world welcomes her son Charles as king. It's a defining moment for Britain. But closer to home, people are pondering what the monarchy means, reflecting on the royal family's record as they process the news.
My grandma was devastated. She was so sad. My family has some British backgrounds. It was devastating for me, and I've always kind of looked up to her as a strong, feminine, historical figure, especially because now we probably won't have a queen reigning for a while.
What was it about her that resonated with you so much?
I think just the influence she has on the world. Like, everyone in the world knows who Queen Elizabeth II was.
It came to kind of a shock to us, just because, we weren't prepared for that.
Just like him, I was also really surprised that she was a queen for like almost 70 years. Yeah, born before, she was a queen before my parents were even born.
So I was upset a bit, a little sad. I didn't really know much about the queen and stuff, but I don't know, it affected me just because she's been alive my whole life.
I knew she was on the older side of the age, but I wasn't really seeing it coming, I guess.
What does the queen mean to you? How deeply do you care about this situation?
For me, it's not a very personal thing to me, but I know that coming from India, and it's a little bit controversial, but there's a lot of, I was raised a lot of my time there, and it's not necessarily the royal monarchy and the whole royal family is not necessarily looking in a great light, especially due to colonization. But I understand, especially for a lot of Canadians and people in the West, it is a big deal.
How much does the monarchy matter to you just in your day-to-day life?
Not much, to be honest. Being a student, working 9 to 5, it just, sorry to say this, but it's no relevance to me, but I know it does impact me and impact the future, and it does have an impact on my life. It's just, it's not really something that I keep up with and have that much knowledge about.
Not much, because to be honest, even though Canada is kind of overseen by England and the Queen and the monarchy, we don't really see that around Canada. Canada feels like its own independent country, to be honest.
We are in a way impacted by them. However, the impact isn't as big as obviously in England.
We asked the Monarchist League of Canada if the change at the throne might also lead to a shift in governance here in Canada. But the local representative says that Canadians are more worried about things like the dollar and inflation than they are about the monarchy.
So I think in the short term, I don't see that system changing. It would take a long process to do that. I think, many Canadians, I think probably don't even think of the monarchy, to be honest. So they're indifferent, and life will carry on.
This red maple is a tree that commemorates Queen Elizabeth II's visit to Windsor in 1984. She actually stood at this very spot and helped plant the tree. And we heard from a man who was actually there that day and watched her plant the tree. And he's the one who actually came back today to lay these flowers down in her memory. A local historian points out that the city of Windsor is profoundly linked to the monarchy. In fact, Windsor's birthday was specifically chosen to honor the reigning queen at the time.
On May 24th, 1892, to coincide with Queen Victoria's birthday. So our city was named Windsor to honor Queen Victoria. All the monarchs since Edward VII, when he was the Prince of Wales, have visited Windsor at one time or another. Right up until Elizabeth II. And so quite a profound link that we have here in our community, in my opinion.
The Commonwealth had its first glimpse today of the new royal era. King Charles III was in London to begin his duties, as tributes for the Queen continue to pour in. The CBC's Thomas Dagler reports.
Arriving at their new home, Buckingham Palace, the King and Queen Consort were greeted like royalty. A crowd in mourning after Queen Elizabeth's passing, now embracing her son, who's been preparing for this moment his whole life.
We owe her the most heartfelt debt.
In his first speech as king, Charles paid tribute to his mother and announced that Prince William and Kate would inherit the titles Prince and Princess of Wales. As for his own future, the king hinted he won't be able to meddle in political matters as he has before.
My life will, of course, change as I take up my new responsibilities. It will no longer be possible for me to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I care so deeply.
For the Queen, there were gun salutes, 1 round fired for each of the 96 years of her life. And at Westminster, parliamentarians set aside 10 hours for tributes to Her late Majesty.
She showed the world how to give, how to love, and how to serve.
Your Majesty.
Britain's new Prime Minister met the new King in their first in-person audience just days after Liz Truss spoke with the late Queen among Elizabeth's final duties. Outside the palace, well-wishers laid flowers and left messages in her memory.
I think you just felt safe. I think that's because she always knew what to do and she always knew how to conduct herself.
I just wrote Goodbye Mum.
It's been like this all day with big crowds pushing up against the gate, trying to get a picture, trying to get a glimpse, trying to feel like they were part of this moment.
She deserves so much respect and so many people loved her, and that's why we're here today.
After 70 years of service, the tributes are only beginning. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, London.
In Windsor, a public memorial service is being planned for City Hall Square at All Saints Anglican Church. So is a public screening of the funeral proceedings, likely at Festival Plaza. And the city will also rededicate the Queen Elizabeth II Sunken Gardens in Jackson Park. To other local news now. Questions continue to swirl around safety in Windsor's downtown. In the face of a series of violent incidents in Windsor Center, police have ramped up their presence. They say the area is safe, but what does that mean and how does it compare to the past? The CBC's Jacob Barker reports.
The aftermath of a downtown stabbing reverberated through the downtown core earlier this week. For those that live and work here, it comes with some apprehension.
Walk down the alley without having to worry about looking over your shoulder. Now you have to worry about who's coming up behind you and that now.
Baz has spent the last 6 years working at this parking lot, and he knows the victim of one of last weekend's stabbings. He says he believes that drug use is what's driving the types of crime the area is seeing.
They're robbing everybody to get the money to do it, you know?
Over the weekend, police reported 2 stabbings and an unprovoked act of violence, prompting them to boost their presence. But looking at internal numbers, police say things are actually better on average. Jason Crawley, Windsor Police Service's acting deputy chief, says the monthly average of crimes against people sits at just over 6 per month this year. That compares to the 10-year average at nearly 8.75 occurrences per month.
It's a good news story for our community. It's a good news story for our downtown.
But those numbers aren't weighted for severity, meaning they don't look at whether we're talking about a homicide versus talking about something lesser, like uttering threats. That's something the Crime Severity Index looks at. Those numbers aren't out yet for 2022, but in 2021, we saw a 2.5% increase in violent crimes in Windsor. That's a far reach from the double-digit increases we saw in 2017 and 2018, but under the increase nationally, which was more than 5%.
For those rooted in the downtown area, the trend they see and feel is worrying.
We don't understand why. And we feel the sorrow of it, of folks that are victims involved in it, because they are our neighbors.
Cameron's organization works to create programming to encourage the downtown, reaching out to both the victims of crime, but also those perpetrating it.
So how do we deal with the pain that people are feeling with instead of saying, what's wrong with you? And providing a recovery program, intensive program that allows them to address the issues and take the engine out of why I do what I don't want to do.
Their love for the area and community is unfazed, but being aware is still key, especially late at night.
And just be wise and prudent in your timing and space, but enjoy the downtown.
Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
The latest employment numbers have been released today by Statistics Canada. They show the Canadian economy lost 40,000 jobs in August. It also pegs Windsor as having the highest unemployment rate among major Canadian cities. Losses were concentrated mainly in the public sector. It's the third month in a row the report has shown numbers going down and pushes the national unemployment rate to 5.4%. In Windsor, it's at 7.5%. But while many sectors continue to trim their workforce, Stats Canada points out that more Canadians are working today than in the months leading up to the start of the pandemic. A policy at Rogers Telecom stores is raising some eyebrows. Customers are being forced to show ID in order to enter. Rogers says it's all being done with the intention of keeping employees safe. Meg Roberts has more.
The doors at Rogers storefronts are now locked until you show a piece of government-issued ID. The sign outside the Rogers Fido store on Queen Street East instructs customers to look up at a security camera to identify themselves and present photo ID through the glass window. The telecommunications company says the policy is aimed at preventing theft. In a statement, Rogers saying the safety of our team members and customers is of the utmost importance to us.
Yes, I've made like 4 trips here.
But some customers aren't on board. Oriel Ramirez says after his experience, he was close to getting a new phone elsewhere. His phone was stolen, which included his ID.
So I couldn't get in without my ID. So it was a bit of a hustle to go all the way back, and by the time I got back here, it was already closed. So I had to wait until today.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if I could get in.
Others with similar views.
I can see why they would need an ID to verify an account, but why do they need an ID to enter the store? I don't understand.
They were not allowed to walk in like I used to have this comfort. Now this privilege is gone, I think. I have to show my ID.
A cybersecurity and tech analyst says there's good reason to have enhanced security protocols at phone stores. He's noticed an increase in break-ins and robberies. This footage from a violent cell phone store robbery that took place in February of 2019 in Toronto.
If we take the cost of these devices, they can range from $1,500 to $2,000. They're small, they're portable, and they're extremely valuable to thieves.
Despite an increase in criminal activity, he doesn't feel it's a sensible policy.
Technology allows us to create appointments and the ability to set that up prior to going to the store. There's probably nothing more frustrating than going to a store, seeing a door locked, and then potentially being rejected.
Rogers said many telecom companies are using a similar protocol. A number of TELUS and Bell stores CBC News called did not need ID to enter the store. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
University and college students went back to school this week, but some are starting the year without the funding they expected. A single mother and university student says she applied for OSAP back in May and is still waiting for approval.
I don't know my amount. I don't know when I'm receiving it. I'm a single mom. I have like 4 kids. I'm ranging childcare, and I don't know how I'm even going to pay for it. How is it fair to raise people's anxiety and stress levels and not offer any type of solutions?
She says she's not certain how she'll manage her upcoming tuition. The College Student Alliance says some students are waiting more than 12 weeks to find out if they've been approved. Minister of Colleges and Universities Jill Dunlop denied a backlog. And a big congratulations to everyone who has finished their first week back to school. And tonight we check in with someone helping our kids get to class. For the last 10 years, people in one East End neighborhood have come to know Miss Val very well. She helps keep them safe in between the white painted lines on the street. The CBC's Jason Vio crosses the road with Valerie Derboka.
The sounds of Atwater Crescent and East Court Drive, sometimes made by little fingers, pressing Miss Val's red electronic whistle.
Would you like to push my button? I'll push the button. How about hold the sign? Would you like to hold the sign? Say, stop, Daddy. Stop, Daddy.
Armed with her big red stop sign and an even bigger smile, Miss Val knows almost all of the kids by name.
Bye, Isaiah. Say hi to Mom and Dad.
Have a great day.
You too, Hayden.
And these little learners she sees every day now feel like family.
And I enjoy the children because I'm a grandmother, so they're like grandchildren to me too.
She says they warm her heart, especially on cold winter days.
I'm here twice a day. I'm here in the morning, and then I'm here in the afternoon.
Derboka doesn't miss a day unless
I have a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or something, but I'm here all times. And if I'm not here, the children are saying, "Where's Miss Val?"
Her community connections run deep. Handwritten letters from the kids illustrate how much she's loved.
Dear Miss Valerie, how are you doing? I don't think you've ever met me, but I'm Wasim. Nice to meet you. I'm always watching you when you help people cross. I think you are really nice, and I think you can do anything.
And this white dot marks Miss Val's spot, but when her day is done,
I'm gonna go home and relax. Put my feet up.
At 74 years old, she has a lot of pep left in her step.
As long as I'm well, I'll be here.
Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
Miss Val, you're the best. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I loved that live look outside. Your weather's coming right up. Welcome back. Okay, listen, fall is far away and we are holding on tight to our shorter summer nights, but we wanted to let you know that apples are ready to be picked. The Patillo Apple Orchard is open for the season. You've seen it plopped in the middle of suburbia, and it's been farmed by the same family for more than 150 years.
This one looks like it's pretty good right here. We'll give it a bite. I really didn't want to see our house, this house, get sold. So when George died, I had an opportunity to buy it from the family. It just wasn't those things they could just hand down at the size of the property. So there were a lot of people that thought maybe they should be growing houses rather than apple trees. Hindsight, we bought the farm. It was finished in 1867, and that's when George brought his bride to the house, and they were married the same day that Canada became a nation. And so it's rather significant for us because when everybody's celebrating Canada Day, we're also celebrating our family here. There's been many generations, and we're hoping that the next grouping of Patillos will be continuing on with this apple orchard as well. In a position here where it's right in the middle of very expensive houses all around us, and once again, I didn't want to see our family history disappear.
How many trees do you figure there are?
We've got about 400, and that's kind of enough, to keep me busy. We have a lot of friends that come out and they help. They think it's kind of almost like a spa to be here, to come out and they bend and twist, and it's good for your health, I guess. Probably the reason that we're all still in good health here too. An apple a day keeps the doctor away and the dentist at bay as well.
Dahlia Ashry, it's looking good for some apple picking.
It is. He said that one apple a day keeps the doctor away, and it keeps Dahlia awake, and it keeps her going. I'm going to go apple picking on Sunday.
There you go.
At my friend's farm. It's perfect temperature. The weather is on our side. Mother Nature is just getting us through the weekend, but then, there will be some rain. Mother Nature will be turning on that tap again. But for now, warmer temperatures, and we can enjoy it while it lasts. So usually the normal high this time of year is 23 degrees. We're sitting at 27. The normal low is 13. We're sitting at 11. So we're sitting above seasonal temperatures. It doesn't really feel like fall right now, and let's enjoy that while it lasts. So go apple picking, enjoy those apple ciders. Windsor, 26 degrees right now. Sarnia, 27. We factor in that humidex, and it feels more like 29 degrees. So that's the warmer temperatures that we're talking about, although it will change in a few days, which we'll get to in a second. Are we expecting any rain tonight? And the answer to that is no, but like I said, Mother Nature will be turning on the tap again very soon. As we could see, starting on Saturday, we can see that the precipitation activity, it's making its way from south of the border, Michigan. That cold front is coming through, giving us also mixed in with that low pressure, giving us some thunderstorms going into a Monday as well. So it's just something to keep an eye on, and have your umbrellas ready for Sunday evening as well. And especially when you're going to school with the kids on Monday or dropping them off and heading to work. Windsor will be expecting a lovely breeze, actually. Tonight, winds will be gusting at 25 kilometers an hour. It'll start to pick up on overnight and as we head into Saturday morning as well. And then it'll start to slow down a little bit and then pick back up again Saturday evening. So expect some breeze, even though it's going to be quite hot over the next few days. Now, tonight, temperatures will drop. It'll feel a little cooler, like a summer night. In Windsor, it's going to be 16 degrees tonight, and all across the board, overall, a cooler evening in southwestern Ontario. Sunday and Monday, like I was talking about earlier, we're expecting that cold front bringing in the thunderstorm and the showers from Michigan. Risk of a thunderstorm on Sunday and Monday, so prepare those umbrellas heading into Monday as you commute to work. Tuesday as well, you'll need your umbrellas. Wednesday, we get a break, back to those dry conditions. We got spoiled today and tomorrow, Katerina, right?
And we'll soak that up all we can.
Exactly. Go apple picking on my behalf too, if maybe you can.
Thanks for that, Dahlia.
Thanks, Katerina.
When we come back, treasures from a time capsule. Stay with us. Treasures from 1964 are now on display at the Sandwich Town Public Library. A time capsule found by construction workers is providing Windsorites with a glimpse into the bygone era. The CBC's Peter Duck went to check out all the capsule treasures.
This time capsule was there since 1964. How was it discovered recently?
When they were doing construction on this site, they were digging up, and all of a sudden they came across this and they said, "What the heck is this?" And here was this metal kind of destructive box, but they said, well, we have to open this up, and they realized that this was a time capsule celebrating the advent of improved hydro in Windsor. And though it might not be the most exciting topic, hydro per se, everything that's in here is a reflection of the time and how people thought and how people use things and costs and that type. So that makes it very interesting for me. People want to see photographs. They want social information, cultural information. I put in, just for the display, the little leaves here because in 1964 is when we officially had the official maple leaf flag. And so that was one of the biggest controversies and arguments. I mean, they would have complete throwdowns in the House of Parliament over which one. And that is just as important so that people can understand how their government, articles about that, what was going on at that time. It reflects the context of how people thought back then.
And that is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. And we also want you to know about some special programming for tomorrow. In the morning, Heather Hiscox guides us through the accession of the King. Tomorrow night, Rosemary Barton handles the Conservative Leadership event. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.